Awesome. So I can see people joining in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Daxe live stream. Happy to see you all here. Please confirm that you can hear me. Hey, CUN. Glad to see you. Yes, this is the live stream. Hey, Roshan. Good to see you there. I think people are still joining in, but I guess we can get started. So maybe I'll start with a short intro of what Daxe is for the newcomers. And then as I do that, it will provide opportunity for people to put some questions in the chat. After the short intro, we'll cover what's to come. That means the deployments on the future chains. And then we'll also cover how to get allocations for those chains. So what is Daxe? Daxe is the first multi-chain certificate of deposit. Many of you are familiar with certificate of deposits already. It's an instrument that enables you to have higher returns on your locked up assets in exchange for the promise of locking your asset with a financial institution for a specific period of time. The longer that period of time, the better the yield. And in the case of Daxe, the longer that return, the more exponential the yield. So you can find out more about Daxe if you go to our website, daxetoken.net, and Heather, I think Tekoa Jones. Heather, nice to meet you. So I can't always associate the names with your Telegram name, so I know sometimes those name changes and those handles change. So if I don't recognize you, my apologies there. But really glad to have you all on board. Daxe is multi-chain because our intent is to launch on multiple chains. Already, many of you know that we are already deployed on AVAX. But before AVAX, we deployed on Binance Smart Chain, on BSC. We deployed on BSC November 22nd, and we deployed on AVAX in December 12th. So we're planning to deploy on Polygon January 12th, and on Pulse Chain soon after that. So yeah, looking forward to a bright future for Daxe. You can how do you benefit from Daxe? Well, because Daxe is a certificate of deposit. After purchasing Daxe, you can stake it, and you can stake it for any period of time, from 1 day, well, from 3 days, in fact, all the way up to 15 years or 5 days. And the way you benefit is through yield. And the yield is generated through interest and through reward on penalties. So what that means is we have two types of interest. So the base interest, which is a 20% APR interest calculated daily. And you also have your long stake interest, which rises exponentially over time. Now, again, it's important to understand that as the interest itself rises, your payout also rises, and that provides significant advantages as the length of stake increases. As I continue, don't hesitate to put in questions in the chat that you want me to address. I think that would be the best way to go about it. So I'm putting that in the chat right now. So the last way that Daxe holders benefit from staking in Daxe is through what we call penalty payouts. So as someone unstakes early, or when there's an early on stake, there's a severe penalty applied to that early on stake, and those are redistributed to all current stakers. That quickly amounts to a lot as time goes on. So the fourth way, which is more of a cross-chain opportunity that Daxe stakers benefit, is by staking Daxe and ensuring future allocations or allocation on future chains. So how does that work? So if you have Daxe staked either in AVAX or you have Daxe staked in BSC, you will get allocations when we deploy on AVAX. Sorry, when we deploy on. So I'm getting a lot of messages here. I'm trying to follow up at the same time. On when we deploy on Polygon and on Pulse Chain. So and the way that's calculated is through dollar allocation is calculated via your stake score. Your stake score is the amount of Daxe that you have staked multiplied by the duration. So I have a question in here: is how often is interest computed? Interest is computed daily. So as the interest computes, you should see that in your. If you go on daxtoken.net and if you have any stake in there, you'll see the APR displayed and your interest rise over time. Now, the interest that you see or the payout that you see on the site, I think sometimes it causes confusion for people. So I'll explain that a little better. So that there are different sections, of course, in your payout. There's your base interest that you will see there. There's your long stake interest. So both of those are pretty much fixed. What is not fixed and what changes over time, grows and shrinks, is the benefits on the penalty payouts. So you should pay attention to that, and you can see all of that in the chart on the staking section of daxtoken.net. So another question that we get a lot is, have we applied to CMC and CoinGecko? Yes, we have applied. We're waiting to hear back. So we expect we should hear back anytime soon. Many of you know that I'm not particularly, gung-ho on going on CMC and CoinGecko. However, I think it's an important step in increasing exposure. In fact, I would prefer for more grassroots investments to happen earlier before the big whales come in, because when they do, then it makes the investment more difficult for the small player. So whenever it happens, it happens. That's not something I can control, especially that we've put in the request, some time ago. So just making sure I'm not missing questions here. Do you think the price will be similar across chains? If so, why? Yes, indeed. Our intent is to drive towards price parity for Daxe, and there's good reason for that. Number one, the mechanics and the economics of Daxe are the same across all chains, and because we are deploying on chains that all have pretty similar fees and mechanics. Especially they're all fast and they're all cheap in terms of the transaction. So you're not paying $100 in order to stake and unstake, which we find a little crazy. So yes, I think that will enable convergence towards price parity. The second thing that will enable convergence towards price parity is the fact that as we deploy on more and more chains, people will seek to purchase and stake on chains that have a lower amount of stake congestion. I can use that word, and the cool thing behind that is as one version of Daxe becomes more congested in terms of stake, it provides arbitrage opportunity through staking to another version of Daxe, and again that also drives towards price parity. And lastly, the third component of that is, of course, we are intending to build a bridge. We're in no hurry to do so because already many of the mechanics that we've put in place are already taking place. You can see the price action on ADAX, very much so trying to race towards that of DDAX. So sorry. I use those terms as if everybody knows them, but ADAX is what we call DAX on AVAX, and BDAX is what we call DAX on Binance Smart Chain. So you're already seeing price action towards convergence there. I suspect we're going to see even more movement as we get closer to the Polygon go live. So just going through the questions here, making sure that I'm not missing anything. If there are any questions in the Telegram group, it's hard for me to keep track of all these different chat rooms at the same time. Go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll follow them up. I think I should also post the link in Twitter. So give me 2 seconds. I'll just do that. Okay. Yeah, and don't hesitate to share the link also in social media for people who you think may benefit from this session. So going down through the questions here. So we get this question a lot. So I hear 1% is currently allocated towards Richard Hart or the Hex origin address. What's his take on Daxe project? I don't know what Richard Hart's take is on Daxe, and to tell you the truth, I think his intent on Daxe is pretty much irrelevant. We did the 1% as a gesture of goodwill towards Hex holders. I think the community is more important than the founders, if you ask me. Although sometimes founder effect can be fairly important. The 1% to Richard Hart is there. He's free to use it as he pleases. Whether he's he's going to give it to Sense Foundation, whether he's going to sell it or hold it. Whatever he does, we're fine with it. This is more as a way to let Hexicans know, and I'm sure pretty much all of us here are Hexicans, know that we are not antagonistic to Hex, quite the contrary. So going down the question list here. So this is a good question. So what is the innovation pipeline for the website, especially the staking part? Feel a bit of momentum is viable at the moment, not complaining. Think it could be iterated. Absolutely agree. So thanks, team, for the question. So you'll notice You'll notice that our website has gone through multiple stages of improvement for those of you who were there, who were OGs in the beginning. You can see how the website has evolved, and we will have multiple iteration of the site coming. So if you go on our website and you go in the bottom, you'll see from our team that Khalid, or Khaled as he's called, our UI developer. So he's working on that quite actively. In fact, I was chatting with him this morning about the next iteration of the website. So yeah, looking forward to that. So I get another question from Okori. So is Daxe team staked? Yes. The team is fully staked. You can go to daxtoken.net and scroll down to the bottom, and you get details on us, the team. So maybe I'll share a little more about myself. So my name is Michel Aka Kwame. My background is in quite a bit of coding in artificial intelligence and machine learning, and in fact my undergrad and master's degree were in computer science and artificial intelligence from University of Montreal. Right now, my day job is as a director for an IT division for healthcare in the western part of Canada, in British Columbia. So, so I've been in the IT field for a long time. I've been coding, and for a long time I've been in the AI field for a long time, and I've been investing for quite a long time too. So yeah, that's a little bit on me. Khaled, our UI developer, you'll find his detail and his website on our website, and Jagger, or Jag, so he joined the team not too long ago. So he's our marketing director. Again, you find the details in the website. Is Daxe burned and then minted when opening and closing a stake? How can user monitor the total circulation supply? Very good set of questions there. Let me start with the easy one. You can check the total amount of Daxe if you go on chain and you go to the contract section. You can check that out there. Circulating supply, especially in Daxe, is a little tricky to wrap your mind around. So I'll try to explain it in as few words as I can. So you of course have the OA allocation, which doesn't move and doesn't sell. So that's the origin address. And then you have your LP allocation, which is shrinking by the day. As it shrinks, the price goes up, but that's normal. So we started with an original LP. LP. LP stands for liquidity pool. We started with an original liquidity pool of 200 billion Daxe. I forget how much Daxe we have in the liquidity pool now. And then you have Daxe held in wallets, and I think these are the ones that are, the total set of Daxe that are in circulation. So if you really want to see the total Daxe in circulation, it's the LP plus what is in people's wallets. So eventually we'll create some sites or some dashboards to be able to do that. It's very possible that somebody will beat us to it, as we have quite a few things on the development stream. Just making sure I have address all the parts of the question here. Is there any burning? No, there's no burning, and the only minting that happens is through stakers. So the only inflation that happens in Daxe is through people who are actively staked. A good way to think about it is we reward the productive members of Daxe through inflation, and that inflation benefits them first. Of course, there is benefits also by just buying and holding the coin, as he has done well over time. Burning, I don't like burning. I think it's an artificial way of propping the price. The only concept of burning that exists in Daxe is when there's an early on stake, that there's a 3% burn which is applied to the penalty portion of the early on stake. So let's say somebody unstakes, started a stake and unstaked 10% throughout. There's a severe penalty applied, and on that penalty, on the penalty portion, not on the payout portion, but on the penalty portion, there's a 3% burn applied, and the remainder of that penalty is then redistributed to all Daxe holders. Sorry, Daxe takers, not holders. So slight difference there, but very important. Where do I see Daxe in 3 to 5 years? So from a landscape perspective, as things progress, we are planning to deploy on multiple chains. So that means we'll probably be on Polygon, if everything goes well. Probably be on Pulse Chain, probably be on Solana, probably be on Cardano. If Cardano finally resolves all these issues with them being able to have a DEX where people can easily purchase things and attract more smart contract investors. And there's multiple larger chains out there that we really like, that we're looking to onboard onto. Some that are really coming up: Cardano, VLX, KCC, Kronos, being some of the few that come to mind. But the space is very vibrant, and I think there's still a lot of network discovery, let's call it that, out there. So as the chains themselves evolve, so will the direction in which we'll be investing our efforts. So going down to questions here. Will all future chains have a single airdrop? Yes, all future chains will have a single airdrop. We'll no longer have the vested model. I think it serves everybody well, that the airdrops happens all at once. It also helps more for price stability over time. Next question here. There might be more ways to create reciprocal relationship between Hex community and Daxe. I totally agree with that, team. I think there's a lot more ways to attract Hex investors. There's a few things I don't like in marketing, where some marketing techniques just go out there and dump coins in people's wallets blindly. I don't like that. A lot of the coins that have done that, funny enough, feel very scammy. But I think there are other ways of attracting Hex investors, and I'd be more than happy to have discussions about it, in the Telegram group. So. Nice and strong project from a great team. Thank you very much, Nay, blogger. I appreciate that. The Invincible is saying that he's a Daxe OG. Yeah, we've seen you around, Invincible. So good to have you. CU is asking, how are you able to build this with just 2 people? Are there more developers? Very good question, CU. Well, first of all, I think I'm at a significant advantage, or we are at a significant advantage, because of our background in AI development and machine learning. So a lot of the skills are transferable. And I think that's great. Moving forward, as we deploy more and more chains, it stands to reason that we'll have to acquire some more help in order to keep up. So, so that's important. Thank you very much for the compliment, Wildcard. I appreciate it. That's another OG that we have. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is being. Oh, let me double check. I think I am recording it. Oh boy. I forgot to record it on OBS, but yes, I think by default YouTube records it. So once it's done, I will publish this live stream for sure. So in the interest of, for the benefit of new joiners, like me to explain the difference between Hex and Daxe. There are a few differences. Number one, we are multi-chain. I think that's very important to understand because Hex isn't multi-chain. I don't think they have any intent to be multi-chain. And the multi-chain aspect of Daxe, plays into also its economics and its long-term success. Number two, there are key differences in how Daxe is coded. So we coded Daxe from the ground up, where when we looked at how Hex was behaving, we saw a few areas of improvement, and we brought those to bear. Especially in terms of how gas efficient it is and how the mechanics work. Number three and number four, we intend to target networks that are efficient in order to enable a more democratic approach to investing in a certificate of deposit. What do I mean by that? So when you look at the space, there are chains out there that are very clunky and expensive to be on. Looking at Ethereum, so we are targeting chains that are fast and cheap and enable small investments to join. And you can see that in the amount of transactions we have. It's fairly interesting to see. If you go on Dex Tools or some of the other price oracles out there, it shows. I'll put in another funny anecdote in here. It's also interesting what something else that caught us by surprise is how we are able to bring newcomers to a new chain. So it's interesting to see people learn about a new chain that they wouldn't necessarily have entertained. So ADAX, for example, is bringing a lot of people into AVAX, both in terms of how do you transfer your assets to AVAX, how do you invest in AVAX, how can you bridge or send your assets to a centralized exchange, and from that centralized exchange send it back to AVAX. And I suspect the same thing is going to happen with future chains. So we are not Hex. We're totally different certificate of deposit, and we're fine with that. I think we want to be different, and we set up Daxe to be very different in many ways. What collaborations are expected with other projects? It depends. I'm very, very picky when it comes to collaboration because I'm very protective of our community, maybe too much so sometimes. When you collaborate with other projects, you start to be associated with those projects. So we have to be cognizant of what that means long term. So in picking collaborations, we'll be careful to make sure that they share similar values as many of you know, I'm anti pump and dump, and we designed this coin not to be a pump and dump at all. We are more so focused on the long term, so they would have to share our values. So going down the list of questions here, any further plan to boost marketing of Daxe? Yes, absolutely, Okori. So you can see some of those efforts happening now. You can also see many more marketing efforts starting to bear fruit. But this is just the beginning. There'll be more interviews, more exposure through social media, Facebook, Twitter, more contests. It looks like it was very, very good and very, very popular to have those meme contests and those TikTok contests. So we'll be doing more of those again, and more airdrop campaigns to come for sure. So trying to read. So another question we get often, thank you CUN for the question, does Daxe have t-shirts like Hex? No, Daxe does not have the concept of t-shirt. We felt that was a complexity that wasn't needed. So what did we do? We did away with it. So all the benefit from Daxe is directly translated or directly given to current stakers. So we didn't feel that there was a need to introduce that level of complexity. We felt that the code, the approach, and the mechanics were complete enough without t-shirts. No need for that. So coming up towards the top of the hour here, so I'm going to take a few more questions. As this was the first live stream, it was really more so as a way for me to get familiar with live streaming, and we'll definitely do far more of those in the future. But yeah, so I'm going to take a few more and then call it a day. Could you please clarify how Daxe will integrate into Pulse chain? Will it partake in the snapshot? Oh, okay. Great question, Field. So by the time we get to Pulse chain, we will already be on 3 chains. So we will be on Binance Smart Chain, we will be on AVAX, and we would also be on Polygon. And similar to all the previous chains that we've done, there will be a snapshot, and the snapshot happens right before go live. And when that snapshot is taken, we will scan all the networks, BDAX, ADAX, and MDAX for Matic DAX, and then we'll calculate the allocations and determine what staking score people have, and from there we'll push the airdrop for Pulse chain. So no, we're not taking part of the overall Pulse chain go live, but when Pulse chain is live, we will have our own go live and our own snapshot. So we're getting a few compliments here from the group. Great job with the project, and thanks for the stream. My pleasure, CryptoPlan and DeFi group. Appreciate that. Like I say, the best form of virality is word of mouth. So go out there, spread the word. I think many of the Daxe OGs have gone ahead and spread the good news, and some of those who have joined after them have benefited. I'm humbled to be in this project. I'm humbled by the communities. Very, very knowledgeable and smart community. I like that. I feel blessed. I've been in multiple Telegram groups where things get a little tasty sometimes and crazy, or the level of knowledge and questions is just around pump and dumping. So I'm grateful that the community reflects, sort of the direction that we were looking for. So keep asking great questions. There are no stupid questions. Any question that help people understand is is an important question. So so I think I'm going to call it a day. For those who missed it, well, Merry Christmas, as I wished Merry Christmas before to many of you on social media, but I think it's more appropriate that I do that here, and Happy New Year to everyone. As we say from where I come from, Afishapa, which means let the year go, and come and meet us again in good health. So hope to see you all again, really soon. So yeah, thanks again to everyone, and thanks for joining. Bye-bye.